2025, the pros and cons, what's in it for Ghanaians, and how authorities intend to ensure that there is safety on our roads. I do have on the panel with me Mr. Beatrice Adu. He is with the West Africa Regional. He is actually the West Africa Regional Director, CAT International. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you to your viewers.
I do have as well Mr. Kofi Amo, a Special Development Specialist and Road Safety Advocate. Good evening to you as well, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
And of course, I have with me as well Pascal Kwashi Sechwafia. I hope I got that correctly. He's the National Public Relations Officer, Commercial National Motor or Okada Riders Union, Ghana. And of course, I do have a video call with us as well, lawyer Abraham Amaliba, who is Acting Director General, National Road Safety Authority. Mr. Amaliba, good evening to you. Thank you as well for joining us on the program.
Good evening to you and to your panelists there.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Beatrice Adu. Let me remind you that we're streaming live as well on 3FM 92.7. Send us your comment and we'll read them back to you. Let me start with you, Mr. Kwesi Adu, because really, I mean, perhaps I should just put it this way, that the decision of the government to pass this Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025 into law, let me first get your general thoughts.
Well, this was a political manifesto of the current administration, and when government came into power, government decided to put words into action. So for that reason, we've seen it. And when we've been having conversation with government on this matter, and government is saying that they are going to put all the measures that are in place to make their policy work for in a way that it doesn't create a nuisance. And we are told also that DVL is going to start retraining of all motor riders, and we hope that those training would help bring about sanity in the space. But for me, in the long haul, I see that the alternative, in the long haul alternative, is not the the Okada legalization. The long haul, we should be looking at a more efficient and a sustainable urban and public transport system in the country.
All right. So perhaps I should also get your thoughts as well. Come to you, Mr. Amo, because proponents of the bill say that this will not, or this will rather make our roads safer. How realistically do you see that? Especially when data shows that between 30% and 45+% of road crashes are currently caused by riders.
Who came out with that statistics? In fact, I'm a social development specialist. I've been riding since 1982, not just an ordinary rider, but I've traveled extensively across the country. I've made all kinds of surveys, researches on motorcycles and users. And if you want to talk of commercial riders, I mean, seriously, of course. We have those that are untrained, unskilled, that are on the road, and they certainly will be in the hospital, the emergencies every moment. So, I mean, there's so much to talk about this.
So you don't agree with the statistics? That's what you're saying?
No. There is so much that is not even to the eye, you know. It's like yesterday, there was a crash 10 meters away from police officers that were stopping motorcycles, and they didn't even see it. Motorcycle and a car. I have to tell them that, leave these guys the 10 CDs and go and attend to that one. So there are a lot of things that we're actually not getting.
Well, we've had a number of agencies who are into road, issues talking about these statistics, and like I said, there's data to back that. But I'm coming to you, Mr. Amaliba, because you must equally be concerned about the number of road crashes, and really the question would be how you intend to ensure that the roads are safe.
Well, this is the most progressive human-centered law I have seen. The law does not just legalize Okada, but it gives us a clear understanding of how the law intends to tighten road safety requirements. So alcohol consumption has been reduced, and you are not talking about that. You are not also talking about the fact that we are talking about putting standards to seat belts. You are not talking about that, but you are talking about the Okada. Now, let me say this. The reason why the Okada riders are driving the way they are driving is because it has not been regulated. And when the gold board was not there, you saw that everybody was just buying gold anyhow. Now that there is a gold board, you see that it has brought sanity into the buying of gold. That's how you should look at it. People don't do the things that you expect. They do the things that you inspect. This law is going to let us inspect the riders, put measures in place, and they will not be riding the way they are riding. So that is it.
That is it. You say you talked about a few other things that would have gone into later, but perhaps I should talk about it now, because the bill is looking at also reduction of alcohol intake. You're also looking at vehicles and whether or not it meets the emission standards, among others. How do you intend to make that work? Because we've seen a lot of rickety vehicles and motorcycles on our roads that really are not fit to be on our roads. This time around, how do you intend to do that?
So enforcement is key here. And the starting point will be at the DVLA and then also the MTTD. The Road Safety Authority also has its role to play. At this point, when this law comes into being, there will be an LI. The LI will come and spell out the nitty-gritties, the details, how these things are going to be achieved. And so let's wait for the LI, but it is clear, the intention is clear, that we intend to tighten road safety in this country. And the things you are seeing, the reckless riding, the jumping of traffic lights, the non-compliance of road regulations will become a thing of the past.
Mr. Amaleba, before I come to the man representing the association that is going to be taking advantage of this, if you look at the bill, and even the commentary from the Roads Committee of Parliament that looked at it, one of the main things is to ensure you give some sort of employment to people in this category, i.e. those who have reached the age of 25. But critics or cynics feel that there could have been other ways of providing employment, looking at the risks involved in motor riding on our roads in Ghana currently.
But you know that Okada is providing what I'll call a gap that has been left unattended to. Okada is providing a solution to that gap. There are areas that vehicles don't go to in this country. You know that. Apart from that, Okada will take you to your doormat. You don't have vehicles doing that. So this explains the reason why Okada is popular. And when I say it's popular, the more you try to ban Okada, the more the population patronize their activities. Have you noticed that you journalists, when you are late to read your news, you jump behind Okada and you are there in time to read your news. So Okada has come to stay. And the fact that even a law banning Okada could not succeed to tell you that what you can do is to regulate it. And so let's accept the fact that Okada has come to fill a void, and Okada is patronized by the entire Ghanaian, majority of Ghanaians in Ghana, and Okada can be regulated in such a way as to provide the kind of services we want. That's how you look at it.
Mr. Amaleba, I'll come back to you, but I want to come to you now, Mr. Sechofia, because at the end of the day, you being given the go-ahead or the green light to operate commercially also imposes some level of responsibility on you. How are you going to ensure that members who want to take advantage of this will be responsible on Ghana's roads?
I'm so happy for the how far we have come as a nation relating to Okada issues. As unions, we have a constitution on our own, and we also take responsibilities for our members based on what the Constitution of Ghana says. What we intend doing, we have across the 16 regions, from the branch level to the zonal level, from the zonal level to the regional level, from the regional level to the national level, which we have across the 16 regions, and we believe very well that all our executives within the 16 regions are going to do what the government expects of us. Especially, we are also putting out a task force and a disciplinary committee that we had already before the implementation that will take all these things into consideration and work with the law enforcement to make sure that what is in the LI or what is being amended is going to be taken into consideration by the union.
By the union, you say, I'm coming back to you, Ms. Alma, because you were raising issues about really the kind of concerns that people have expressed as regards the legalization of the commercial use of motorcyclists on our roads.
Well, if we want to talk about how useful it is, the gentleman from the National Road Safety Authorities mentioned some
Lawyer
of them.
Maliba.
Yeah, he has. And I've really traveled to places in this country that, I mean, if you don't have a motorcycle, you are finished.
But you know, in those places, they obey the traffic regulations.
No.
I've been to one in the Upper West region where when it is red, they stop. But in Accra, they don't.
That is where civilized communities, you come to Wa, I know Wa very well, that's where you have the traffic light. But in the bush, where you have the footpath, no vehicle can go there. And so I've had a breakdown a number of times traveling across Ghana, and without the services of that Okada rider, you know, but only there I tell them that, I'm sorry, I have to ride a bike. I won't let you ride me. Yeah, and I always have a spare helmet in my truck. So you see, they are really providing a very important service. Okay, the only thing is that it's quite dangerous sitting on a motorcycle that has a rider that knows nothing about the road and hasn't received any kind of training, no insurance. I mean, he just doesn't know what he's doing. He knows how to turn on a motorcycle and then, you know, clutch and then release the clutch and then he's zooming. So that is where we have a big danger, because I've seen too many bad things happen on the road. You go to most of the regional capitals or the cities, go to the emergency units of any hospital, and they'll tell you how many cases are coming every day. I mean, terrible cases.
In fact, part of the research attributing the 45% of road crashes to motorcycles cites the Kolebu Teaching Hospital as well, as regards how many cases are received.
A lot. In fact, I don't know how they manage that, but there are a lot of cases. I see things happen every single day.
And by the way, the accident involving motorbikes and the statistics of 45% is coming from the office of Mr. Maliba, the National Road Safety Authority. But let me come to you, Sir, Mr. Kusiamo, really, Apia Adumakun, on your main concerns, before I go back to Mr. Maliba, regarding this law, I mean, this bill that has been passed, we're awaiting presidential assent.
I only want to say there's a concern. I mean, the issue is that there's a need, there's a gap, and Okada has filled it. I mean, if you live in Accra, you can talk big English, but when you go to other parts of the country, you realize that the way to go around is the motorcycle. And for me, I think that in the short to medium term, we can use this thing to solve the problem. By the long run, urban center, we should be able to develop a more sustainable transportation that can also help commerce to proceed. Currently, when you look at the data, for example, from January to October, for example, the total crashes involved motorcycle was close to 5,303. Yes, and whilst it's also, even we had more vehicles involved in crashes compared to motorcycles. Perhaps could be that most of the motorcycles crashes were not reported by the police because As soon as it happens, they can easily take everything from the site. But for cars, the car has to be there for insurance purposes and other things. But I want to say that we shouldn't stop here. The training is good, but in the long run, I mean, a more dynamic city like Accra and our cities, we should be able to plan our cities and have a better transportation system. My dad will tell me that in the 70s and the 80s, the OSES and even they were running on time basis. But today we have collapsed our urban transportation. Even Ayalololo, that was supposed to run a rapid BRT, we've not been able to manage it. And I think that we need to ask questions for those Ghanaians who have been put into authority to manage this transport system. What are they doing? If they have done their work very well, I'm sure that nobody will be riding on Okada and trying to risk his or her life. But in the short term, I think that we need to create jobs which for our young people. But in the long run, if we are able to develop our public transportation system, we'll be able to, Okada riders will be able to also form a transport union, not sitting on riding a motorcycle, but riding, let's say, a better means of transportation than Okada.
And I'm coming back to you, Lawyer Maliba. I want to read some statistics to you. In terms of full-year national report, 2,494 road traffic deaths were reported. January to June 2024, mid-year, 1,237 deaths from 6,653 reported crashes. January to June 2025, talking about this year, 1,500 deaths. That's 21.6% rise versus what we saw in 2024. January to August 2025, your own office, the summary report said that 9,626 crashes, 12,894 casualties, about almost 2,000 fatalities, plus 10,000 injuries. And of course, I talked about the hospital and a city study showing that people who are commonly involved between 15 to 25 years in clinical samples. You talked about measures that are going to be implemented. If you could tell us the specific measures to ensure that these numbers that I've just read to us, as this thing takes effect, by next year, we should be reporting less crashes.
So the Okada rider is not going to be an individual riding as we see today. They are going to be in unions. They are going to be in cooperatives. These cooperatives would have executives. And I heard one of your panelists say that they will have a disciplinary committee. So there's going to be first self-regulation amongst them. Self-regulation amongst them. There will be the first point of call when an Okada rider misbehaves. Because you belong to a union, the union must provide you when you are seen breaching road traffic of regulations. So you'll be fetched out by your organization. 2, they are going to be identified with reflectors, jackets. 3, they are going to be given standardized helmets. Currently, the kinds of helmets they are using are more or less deaf helmets, because when they fall off their motorbikes, those helmets, because they are substandard helmets, tend to choke them in the head. We now have a standardized EU, Africa standardized helmets. And we've taken the customs through the training. Standards Authority is part of it. All stakeholders involved in designing the helmet are all involved. So motor riders, the Okada riders will now be using these standardized helmets. All these are meant to ensure safety of the rider. And you must also have a spare helmet that you give to the passenger. Apart from that, the enforcement bit of it. Now, because they are illegal, institutions such as ours cannot approach them to provide them with road safety education and road safety standardization. Road safety education and road safety sensitization. Now that they are becoming legal, we can approach them and provide them with those trainings. DVLA would also provide them with specialized number plates. Their number plates are going to be unique so that you can easily identify them when they engage in traffic offenses. So when we wait for the LI to be passed, is this just the act which has been amended? If the LI is passed, you will see the details. The details are in there. And all these are geared ensure that the Okada does not become a menace, that Okada will come and we will see a change in the way the riders ride in town.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Maliba, and you're still here on Agenda on TV3. When we come back, we'll look at really the practical measures that could be put in place within the short, medium to long term to ensure that everybody is safe on our roads. Do stay with us. And it's still here on Agenda on TV3. Tonight, we're looking at the quote-unquote Okada bill, which has been passed by Parliament, awaiting presidential assent, and what that means for road safety in Ghana, especially in the capital city. I do have on the panel with me Mr. Apia Adu, who is with CAT International, of course, Mr. Kofi Amwa, a special development specialist and road safety advocate, also PRO for the Okada Riders Association, as well as Mr. Abraham Amaliba, who is the acting Director General, National Road Safety Authority. And I'm coming back to you, Mr. Amaliba, because when you look at, again, the report of the Roads Committee that looked at this, I want to go to the bit where they talk about the justification of the bill, and perhaps I should go to observations. The second paragraph says that the committee has thoroughly examined the bill and is convinced that the passage of the bill would allow for the necessary preparation to integrate and regulate the use of tricycles and for commercial fare-paying service to reduce accidents, especially during the upcoming Christmas festivities. The passage of the bill is also necessary to allow DVLA to roll out the implementation of its new number plate system by 1st January 2026. And that's something you mentioned earlier. If you look through this report, it also recommends special lane for motorcycles, or these new means of transportation that we're bringing onto the transport system for new roads. What happens to the operation in Accra? In the meantime, now that it started, you don't. I mean, now that it started,
which
you
operation are you talking about?
I'm talking about the operation of Okada riders in the capital city. The committee said that you should consider special lanes in terms of new road development. How are you going to do that? The thing is going to be implemented before you even think of new road projects and adding these.
No. What they are saying is that because our current roads have not made provision for special lanes, we should consider it in our new roads. Don't forget that there's a big push, and the big push is creating new roads. So in constructing those new roads, factor in the road, the special lanes for motor riding. That's all about it.
Yes.
It's not about now or whatever. So it's about the new rules. Henceforth, new rules must provide for that. But in the meantime, the Okada riders will use the same, the same rules that vehicles use. And in Rwanda, when we went there were no special rules, but they were very disciplined. They were abiding and complying with the route signs. So it is not more about the special lanes. It's about discipline, enforcement, and compliance.
Mr. Adumako, you wanted to make some comments about enforcement and resources needed for this to happen.
Yeah, enforcement and compliance is very key in ensuring that our roads become safer. We're able to reduce crashes and other things on the road. But for enforcement, I think resources has not been forthcoming. One of the key sources of funding for road safety management in this country is funds from the road fund. And since January this year, not even a penny of funds has moved from the road fund to support road safety activities. Perhaps Lawyer Maliba may not be able to say it, but as somebody who works within the road safety space as well, I know very well that the road safety board has, the road fund board has not been constituted. And I think that if government wanted to address road safety, they would have first set up the road fund board so that they will be able to allocate resources. Now look at this year, between January and November, about 3,000 people have died. And I mean, every day we are losing 8 Ghanaians through road crashes. And when you look at this, it's a lot. And nobody is talking about it. And now we don't even have the police enforcement on the road. They don't even have the resources to be able to enforce road, to do enforcement on the road. NRSA is not having the resources to do enforcement. And so I think that once this amendment act has been passed, now the riders will be emboldened because they are now legitimized. But if we don't have the enforcement mechanism, if the police and the law enforcement agents are not on the road to ensure that people are complying, we may be going above the 2025 numbers. Right. And so I'll be happy tomorrow to see that the finance minister is inaugurating the road fund board so that funds can start moving to the Ghana Police, MTTD, and NRSA to help them in their work plan. If we want to prioritize road safety, and again, the committee mentioned that when we are new road, we should consider bicycle. That's a very forward-looking thing. I also want to say that even road safety, when roads are being constructed, we don't even think about road safety installations. Everything becomes afterthought. Look at the N1. Look at most roads in the country. We only construct overhead footbridges when we see that people are being knocked down by cars. So I think that we need to give NRSA the authority to vet every road construction, every road design and its construction to make sure that road safety is mainstream in road construction in this country.
And I'm coming back to you, Mr. Setchwafia. In terms of really, you talked about a disciplinary committee, right? That would ensure that your members are complying.
Exactly.
What specifically are you going to do if your members default?
Like I said, we have various executives from the zones, from the zonal level, from the branch level to the regional level, and down to the national level. So is the disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee will work with the law enforcement, which is the police. That is just as you can see it at the GPRTU having their task forces, we are also going to have our task force on the road with the police. So whatever goes on, if you are a rider, let's say for instance, you are riding a motorbike, you are asked to put on your helmet and you have not put your helmet. If you have been arrested or maybe a police, the MTTD arrest you, we will make sure that whatever you go through in the hands of the law, we will, as a union, will take that measure and also punish you as well. Those are some of the things that, as disciplinary committee, we are ready to do to help the law enforcers so that things work the best way they have to.
I read a story attributed to the General Secretary of your association, saying that apparently, alleging that there are some foreigners involved in your business and asking authorities to rid them from this area because there's a potential of a miscreant also getting involved and doing bad things. Is that something that really is a concern to your group?
Yeah, actually. I think that these things are the main reason why we are doing a national card, which is a membership card that we are doing across the country now. If you want to belong to our union, which is the Commercial Motor Riders Union, unless you have a card, that is the membership card that has your details on it. And you can't do our membership card without Ghana card. Before you can ride a motor and be a part of our union, unless you have a Ghana card, that gives us the courage that all the people that we have within our union are citizens of Ghana, because the citizens of Ghana are the people we are fighting for, and that is where we are concerned about their welfare.
Mr. Amwa, what do you expect from authorities in terms of implementation and what we need to do more?
Yeah, if we want to talk about saving lives on our roads with motorcycles, commercial motorcycles, we must look at certain things that are done internationally. Because if you look at the law, Ghana is always picking stuff from international communities. Now, if you go to the UK, the Ministry of Transport, before you get a motorcycle license, the license is not just the A. Now, I have my car and motorcycle license on one card. That is A. However, in America, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation has to test you. You go through that education, they test you before you can get your starter license. Even that one, you start with a smaller motorcycle, a moped, 50cc, 125, before you go to a 500. Then you get the A. The A actually is like full access, okay? If you go to other parts of Europe too, it's the same. You have what we call the compulsory basic training. Compulsory basic training, which will take you through even the road itself, because we have sandy roads, we have asphalt, we have off-road, all these things. It's not just that you go for a license, but they are teaching you how to use the road, maneuver, how to brake in emergencies, slow driving, all of that. But in Ghana, it looks like you have a license and that's it. But we are not looking at what goes into the license, the fact that you start from somewhere. And, commercial motorcycle, you are taking human beings. People's lives are at risk. So you have to go through that procedure. When you have the license, then it means you are ready. And I'm very happy. In fact, I like to observe what some people are doing. A group recently that came, Okada Moto, before their riders get on the road, they train them. And I sat at the training session, I said, whoa, these people will be saving lives. And this is what others should be doing. Training is key, because if you don't know how to operate the vehicle, it's not just starting it. My daughter at age 9, she taught herself how to drive in the bush. She's driven through rivers and things like that because she fixes her own vehicles at age 9. Now she's 16, you see? And she has tested people, adults that are 40 years plus on the highway. We have our speed guns. We meet Okada riders and drivers that are 40 years plus. They know nothing about road signs, rules, and then, what to do.
Some even don't care about it.
That is it. You see, so if we really want to save lives, the training is very, very important. Having that rider's license, people think that when you have a car's license, you can ride a motorcycle. No. You need license A. And I still want to say that the license A should not just be a blanket license A. Because, look, every motorcycle has power. and you don't joke with a motorcycle, you think you can drive a car so you can handle a motorcycle, you are gone. You are gone. You are dead. That is why we have more crashes. These are people, young people who think, oh, somebody has bought a motorcycle, I have to make sales, so phew, you're gone. You won't come back home. You see, so we need to really invest time and encourage more groups like this Okada Motor, what they're doing, to train people, to train them how to use that equipment, that motorcycle there, what to wear, even wear your gear. You must have appropriate gear, your boots. You just don't get on the motorcycle and then you're riding. Because in emergencies, you know what to do to save that passenger behind you. And this is what is missing.
And I'll come to you, Mr. Maliba, very shortly. But there are some safety measures, as it were, put already in the bill, and it says that uniforms for commercial motorcycle users, the requirement for uniforms will ensure proper identification and enhance public confidence in motorcycle and tricycle services. And that was one of the things that the committee, the Roads Committee that looked at this bill, recommended. Also, the age range is now 21 years as minimum age requirement for persons engaged in commercial motorcycle operations. And the committee again talked about the fact that if you were looking at 18 to 20, a number of them will already be in school. They shouldn't be engaged in such activities. And so they felt at this age, at least, they're a bit more mature to look or go into commercial motorbike activities. And then in terms of road design, which is something that we talked about earlier, there should be integration of cycle lanes into road designs in major cities and urban areas to minimize congestion and reduce risks of collision. And I did say that I'm coming back to you, Mr. Maliba. Perhaps I should start from where the concerns are coming from about miscreants getting involved and how the system is designed to ensure that they are flushed out before they become a problem for us.
So let me do some correction here. I'd like to inform Mr. Adumako that just last week, I think so, last week, the Road Maintenance Fund Board was inaugurated. It is our expectation that by the close of this week or early next week, they will release some funds for us to do the Christmas campaign as well as the New Year campaign. So I just want to inform Adumako, but I agree with his concerns that funding is key. Now, I indicated to you, to your question, I indicated to you that they are going to be in unions. We have not yet decided whether it is only Ghanaians who can do that work or other nationals can do it if they have work permit. And so the unions would determine, not that they will determine who will be a rider, but the unions, if it is determined that other nationals are not allowed, then the unions will be in a position to get those people out. And so the owners will be with the unions because they will have executives. But for now, it is too early for me to say other nationals because foreigners are allowed to work in Ghana provided they have the work permit. And so it will be immature for me to now be talking about this now.
But I want to still go back to the age bit, because if you remember, before you arrived at 21, we had a number of the riders coming out very upset that you had put the number at 25 instead of, because if I can vote at 18, why can't I also be involved in commercial activities? Aside from the reason given by the Roads Committee that looked at this report, are you able to tell us really the justification for still keeping the number at 21? Mr. Maliba, did you hear me? Hello, Mr. Maliba.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear the question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Did you hear the question?
Your line was breaking, but
Okay, so I was saying
I
that.
heard a bit of it, not all of it.
Yes, I was saying that when it was at 25, in terms of the age limit, we had a number of riders coming out complaining that if I can vote at 18, why can't
I
I?
heard a bit of it.
Yes.
The line was breaking.
Yes, why can't I ride before the age of 25? But I was saying that aside from the reason given by the committee, of the road committee that looked at this bill, is there any specific reason from your end why you decided to keep it at 21? And it looks like we've lost him. Hopefully he's able to reconnect and we can conclude on that conversation. But it looks like you want to comment on it.
The reason is that I think we also raise a much concern based on the statistics that have been shown to us some times years ago, as we talk about the road safety. We also play a major key as the leaders. We think that at the age of 21 is much better, because we think that anybody who has 18 years, which is given the nod to be able to ride a motorbike, must be trained within that 3 years frame. Let's say you go through apprenticeship for 3 years, you should be able to do a commercial work with it. So we believe that anybody who is at let's say 18 years can ride any private motorbikes, but you must qualify to ride a motorbike at the age of 21 years, which we all sat down and agree. After all the talks that we think that they should ask for the 25 is too much for the age, we also consider the statistics that we see that people under age are the people that we have more crashes on, has more crashes on the road when it comes to issues of riding. So I think these are some of the major concerns that we raised that made those decisions to be taken.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maliba, you're back on the line. I hope you can hear me now. What I was saying was that the age was originally 25. Of course, you heard the concerns of the riders and it was reduced to 21. Aside from the reasons given by the road committee that looked at this bill, is there any specific reason you still kept it at 21 at the age?
Oh, yes. The law is that you can only enter into a contract if you are 21 and above. And so don't forget that they are going to be entering into contract. They are going to collect people's money and say, I'll send it to Medina. I'll send it to any other destination. So in Ghana, the age that is permissible for you to enter into contracts is the age of 21 and above. So I think the committee was.
And we've lost Mr. Maliba again. Hopefully he's able to join, because we need to talk about really dealing with people who will flout the law and ensuring that it serves as a deterrent to others who may just want to misbehave on the road. Do stay with us. And you're still here on Agenda on TV3. My name is Beatrice Adu. We're looking at the new bill that has been passed to commercialize the use of Okada on our roads. And we've been discussing that with my guests. But I'm coming straight to you, Mr. Adumako, because at the end of the day, again, if you look at the report of the Roads Committee, it talks about the fact that these licenses or the number plates are connected to the owner instead of the vehicle.
Yes.
And so when there's a misbehavior, the license would be withdrawn. But aside from that, I didn't really see any punitive measures that are in place to ensure that it serves as a deterrent. What do you think about that and your expectations on that front? Before I come back to you, Mr. Maliba.
Okay. So I think I was privileged to be part of the process, the drafting process of this act and also the incoming airline. And a lot of measures have been put in place. When you look at the end of the airline and even the act, the offenses and their punishments, their offenses and their charges have been annexed. And so, for example, when you cross a red light, I've forgotten the penalty point that comes with it. And even we are happy to see that there's going to be a traffic test, electronic surveillance on the road, where the CCTV cameras will also be monitoring you for all those things. I mean, in the past, we've been seeing that Okada riders have been crossing red lights, and even when pedestrians are crossing a zebra crossing, you see them.
They are impatient with them.
They are impatient. Now, with this act and also the electronic surveillance, now it makes possible for electronic surveillance to be used to charge you an offense. And these offenses, when you go against the law, you will get an SMS text, and you have opportunity to pay. If you don't pay after certain days, I think that it will also escalate, and then possible, if you want to challenge it, you can also go to court. And I think that is also going to bring about sanity.
That's like a pure European system, but looking at the kind of system we have here, how realistically will this work?
Oh, I mean, at least I'm sure that, in Ghana, most people tend to respect laws only when they see police officers on the road. But now you don't know who is watching you. The cameras are watching you. So if you are riding, the traffic light is red and it's red and no police officer is there, attempt it and see. You see that you cross the light and within 5 minutes or so you get an SMS test showing that at 8:45 p.m. on the ring road at this intersection, your car crossed the red light, and then they also show you a link, I think about 10 seconds video showing the offense. And so if you want your piece, you pay by Momo. Through the platform that is provided. I think this is going to help also create the culture of discipline, because as I said, people tend to comply only when someone is there. Now, God is there watching every rider on the road.
God is there in the cameras. Okay, Mr. Amo, you don't seem convinced by what he's saying, because you've been laughing throughout.
I got a ticket at Koblenz. I was driving 105 at a 100 zone. We used to see a British vehicle. When we got to Great Britain, it was there for us to pay. Fortunately, my friend in Germany paid it for me. Now, what is going to happen is, Ghana, your resident address even is a suspect, let alone to get hold of you. And this Okada boy, I have seen a policeman chase an Okada rider. He was driving a 600cc motorcycle. The Okada guy was using 125. And come and see the risk. You see, so the thing is that when we do the education will really go a long way to solve this, because if you let the rider understand that you don't do this, before you get your rider's license, they tell you what you have to do. Number one, don't jump the red light. When you see people, pedestrians step on the pedestrian crossing, you stop. You see, when you try to sensitize people, we see it on TV, we hear it on radio, and then we share it among ourselves on social media. I'm telling you, it will work. Otherwise, we will come back and discuss the same thing, because even drivers, ordinary drivers, vehicle, cars, buses, you tell them, they insult you. On the the pedestrian traffic light, you tell them that don't pass the solid white. They said, I don't see anything. What is that? It's like we do not have the education. People driving buses, cars. They just bought a driver's license and they are driving. So all of these things will be solved when we continue the education. I realize that the National Road Safety Authority is not receiving the needed support to constantly educate road users. That is why we are having all of this. Until that is done, I'm afraid we will die in our numbers. We will only learn by accident.
Let me get your final words before I come to you, Mr. Maliba.
What I want to say is that I think that what my brother is saying is true. We need to do education from our various homes. Especially, I think that national road safety is a collective responsibility, as we have all been saying it. So I think that anybody, I'm putting it before everybody, that when you have a rider in your house, make sure that sometimes you talk to them. If it is your brother who is using a motorbike, make sure you put a little road safety message into their mind. I think with these things, it's going to help. And also, let me come back to the motor riders being identified on the road also as a road users. When you see a motor rider on the road, the mindset, most of the time when we go to stakeholders meetings in terms of road accident issues, you realize that the blame is always on the Okada riders having the major causes of road crashes.
But they are at fault. If you drive, you know how they crisscross drivers.
But we have also
and behave like on the ground.
On the ground, we also realize that most drivers deliberately do, when they do wrongful overtaking, they deliberately try to, without even identify the fact that the motor rider is also a road user, they crash into them and kill them without even considering that, and they put that blames on, even at the end of the day, on the rider. So those things must also be addressed so that all of us will have a safe road to use.
Mr. Maliba, I want to get your final words, and if you could factor in as well, aside from the withdrawal of license, because now the plates will be linked to the owners, how else do you intend to make offenders or offenses more punishable?
So what Mr. Adumako said about the traffic tech is key. It is an improvement on what we have. Now, the camera will zoom your number plate, and so your number plate will be seen, and your number plate will be recorded. If you don't pay the money, when your next visit to the DVLA,
it looks like we're having a problem with Mr. Maliba's line again, but well, hello?
Maybe I can continue.
Yes, but if you could continue, because I want to find out, the cameras you talk about, really, are these cameras even in place?
Yeah,
in like 30 seconds before. Okay, Mr. Maliba is back.
Okay.
Mr. Maliba, we can hear you.
So when you go to the road, when you go to the DVLA to do your roadworthy, there you'll be found out. So if you don't pay at the DVLA, you'll be arrested. And so it's an improvement on what we have. And
are these cameras already there?
These cameras are there. There's a back room. There's a back room somewhere at, I don't want to mention the name, but I have visited the place. The police, MTTD, has also visited the place. So and there will be vehicles mounted with cameras. Apart from the cameras that will be mounted by the roadside, there will be vehicles mounted with cameras, and they are also going to be, taking shots of those who breach our rules. So we are looking forward for an exciting implementation of these new rules, and a proper implementation would definitely lead to sanity on our roads.
Thank you very much, Prince Nanaya York says, good evening, Beatrice and your panelists. Good submissions. The National Road Safety Body certainly plays a key role, but parents and individual households share a duty to advise and protect their loved ones when it comes to road safety. And a lot more of you sending in your messages. Thank you so much. Sharif Baba says, we're watching you live from Al Haji Tabora, and also from Golon says, watching you live in Manhattan, New York. There is, let me read one more. Coming in, okay, a lot more sending your messages. Some of you praising the president for implementing a promise. Thank you very much. Of course, Mr. Beatrice Adu, West Africa Regional Director, CAT International. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Kofi Amo as well. Special development specialist and road safety advocate as well. Also to you, Mr. Pascal Kwashi Sechwafia, yes, the National Public Relations Officer of the National Motor Riders Union. And to you as well, lawyer Abraham Amaliba, Acting Director General, National Road Safety Authority. Thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us on Agenda tonight. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us. Join us again next week. Have a good evening.